Welcome everybody to episode 1 of the Tool and Tie podcast. Welcome everybody to the Tool and Tie show. My name is Sats and I will be your host. The Tool and Tie podcast is a show for homeowners, home enthusiasts, and anybody looking to learn about home improvement. It's about finding the out-of-the-box thinking to drive value in your property. So I'll give you a brief background on me. I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Poonam, and I have 2 children, a set of twins actually. I also have a small Yorkshire Terrier that I consider my first child. I'm a corporate executive and do this full time. I'm not a contractor, just an enthusiast who some people today consider to be an expert. Tool and Tie aims to speak to individuals, whether you're male or female, who wear a tie or other business attire during the day and have the confidence to pick up the tool belt by night. And if you don't have the confidence today, don't worry, we're going to work towards that. 2 years ago, I was like most people, a home renovation novice, somebody who had little exposure to home renovation. I had very few interactions with contractors, handymen, or any trade for that matter. My dad was a self-proclaimed handyman, but in reality he was a guy with a toolbox on a mission to improve our home, with some success. The times that he didn't, his heart was in the right place. Now some details on my home improvement background. About 2 years ago, I decided to YouTube how to change a cartridge for a leaky faucet for our 1-bedroom condo. I remember walking into the washroom with a lot of confidence. I had all the right tools that the videos told me about, the right attitude, and I was ready to get at it. I went to the washroom, turned off the shutoff under the sink, and proceeded to disassemble the parts for the washroom fixtures. I got the cartridge, and out of nowhere, this high-pressurized cold water just slapped me in the shoulder. I turned to my wife for assistance, and she was actually very calm and collective, surprisingly. I didn't know what happened. I turned off the shutoff valve, so I was confused. Long story short, I was $20,000 in damages. I had neighbors that were angry with me, rightfully so, and a condo suite that was in shambles. My confidence went to the gutter. Luckily, I had insurance to cover most of the damages, but boy did I feel 2 feet tall. I finally realized what happened after the fact. So, my condominium actually had 2 shutoff valves. I didn't know that. There's actually one in front of the trap, and there was one behind the trap. Now, typically in a home, there's one shutoff valve. That valve actually feeds the cold water in the house, and there's another pipe that goes to the hot water tank, which feeds the hot water in the house. Now, I grew up in a house all this time, so I had no idea what was going on in this case. So there was 2 shutoff valves. There's one behind the trap that I just didn't know about, and that was the reason why I caused $20,000 in damages. Luckily, the insurance guys took care of most of it, including the damage to my neighbors, but like I said, it wasn't a great experience. Now, at the same time, was a pivotal moment for us. We purchased our first home a few weeks before this incident, with a dream to move into a perfectly renovated home. However, things don't always go the way we plan it. We had brought in some contractors before we actually moved into the house. And they gave us some quotes, and we budgeted for these quotes. But it turns out when they actually come to your home after you get possession, they do a much more thorough analysis, and the quote goes up 20%. And that's something we didn't budget for. We found ourselves making sacrifices for things, but we really weren't happy with what we were getting at the end. I remember sitting on our floor in an empty new house, feeling defeated, because there was so much work to get done, and we had very little resources to get it done. I told myself that we have to find another way to get things done here. Do I really need to pay almost $600 to a plumber to replace a faucet? That's not even including materials, just labor. Then I reflected back at the moment in the condo, and my knees started to shake at the thought of me doing this on my own. So I researched more and more, and taught myself whatever I can. I went to community centers to learn, volunteered at several Habitat for Humanity sites, and went to local home improvement stores and asked questions after questions to educate myself. After doing this for a while, my confidence was slowly coming back. One day, I remember my wife and I walking into a restoration hardware store, and we're looking at this table that was $3,000. I kind of smirked and said to my wife, if I had the right tools, I could probably make this. And she said, I think you can too. So, I purchased some of these tools just to practice, and eventually made an almost replica of that table with slight modifications for $250 and ended up selling it for $2,000. I then made more furniture and practiced with those tools to get better and better and sold them for a handsome profit too. Now after this point, I think I was ready to take on some home improvement renos that would have costed us a fortune if I had contracted this out. I took small jobs and then I took slightly larger jobs in the house to the point where my confidence came back the more I got into it. At the end, I realized anybody can really accomplish this if they put the effort into it. You see, my philosophy in life is you can either sulk about things or learn from your mistakes and move on. Educate yourself so you're stronger than before. This podcast is about our journey, the hurdles we went through, and how we overcame them. I will aim to educate you and help you build your confidence one tool at a time. We'll talk about tips and tricks, home improvement tips, and where necessary, how to manage trades and subtrades, because you can't do it all. I'm also going to review some tools, some brands, and try my best to educate you on how to use them safely. I'll aim to engage you guys, the audience in this podcast, by helping you answer questions the best that I can. And most importantly, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Today, many friends and family consider me a home improvement expert. I've helped several people build a vision and have it come to fruition within their expectations and budgets by equipping them with the necessary tools and information to get the job done. I'm also going to be bringing my wife, Poonam, to this podcast in future episodes. She's going to document from her perspective what it felt like starting a renovation, living through a renovation, and finally completing a renovation. And shouts out to her because she had a really big part in making this renovation a success. I'm also going to bring industry experts who are going to help answer some of our questions. Anything from electricians to plumbers to gas fitters, you name it. So, I want to thank you for tuning in to the first show of the Tool and Tie podcast, and I hope to see you in episode number 2.